Hello, hello, and welcome to the Fairy Coach Tarot channel. My name is Raquel. Thank you for being here. Today we have our weekly reading, looking at the guidance and advice of the week, right? And we look at the beginning of the week, the middle of the week, and the weekend. And this week goes from Monday, April 6th to Sunday, April 12th. All right. And again, as I said, we're gonna pick a deck, look at the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and the end of the week or weekend. And we keep in mind what is the moon's phase during this week. And we just came out of a full moon. So we're still having a little bit of the remains of that energy. And towards the weekend on Friday, um, April 10th, is when we have the last quarter of the moon. All right. So, decreasing energy of the moon we're seeing this week. All right. So, let's get started and pick the card, pick the deck, pick the fairy that calls you intuitively. But first, we're going to ground, relax, and connect with the breath. So take a deep inhale in through the nose. Hold for a couple of seconds. And exhale, elongating that exhale. All right. Roll those shoulders back. Feel relaxed and your tension leaving the body. And without thinking, just intuitively pick the deck right now that resonates most with you. Ready? All right, let's get started. All right, let's get started with the pink fairy and this beautiful deck. And we are going to set the intention, ask the cards what we want to know. So we're looking at the energy for this week of April 6th to April 12th. We want to get messages or advice for the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week. And we ask in love and light for our greatest good. All right, let's just move this. Okay. All right, one card for the beginning of the week. Very straightforward, only one card's coming out. So we have it really straightforward, the messages for you. So the beginning of the week begins with the moon. What is the advice that the moon is giving us for the beginning of the week, saying Monday, Tuesday energy, and how to approach it the best we can at this time. So the moon is, and it's interesting, this card comes out knowing that we just came out of a full moon. So the moon is an amplifier of energy, right? And it allows you to also, when there is a full moon, enlightens or shines its light on what usually would be a dark path, right? So, right now, what this card is bringing you is saying, all right, so whatever it is that it is concerning you, that it is distressing you, know that there is a path forward, right? So do not feel that you're stuck. Do not feel that there is no way out. Do not feel that there is no progression to make. You are alive and there is a path forward and you can do this, all right? Now, what the moon is also asking you is to have discernment, right? And to realize that if if there is some form of confusion in your life right now, some confusion of what to do, or or who to trust or anything. It is about showing discernment and realizing that we do have the answers and the tools to move forward and connecting not only with our intuition, but taking time to practice that discernment, to really see things for how they are, right? Say, take some time um, for yourself. And yes, intuition can be a part of it, but also show some discernment of saying, okay, this is what I want. These are my options right now. These are the pros and cons. So, using that discernment, and then once you have used that practical way to say, this is good for me, this is not, then narrow things down even more by throwing your intuition there. How do those options feel for you? How are you sensing the road forward? So it's a mix of discernment and intuition, but knowing that there is a road forward to the things you want, to the life you envision, there is a way. It's just about knowing your options, using discernment, and also feeling with your intuition what what are things that belong in your life right now and what are things that they don't. you know this card also shows us, this card has depicted these animals here, and usually it's a in most traditional tarot, it's a dog and a wolf, right? And but these are showing you that you have helpers in the spirit world, right? So if you're feeling confused, if you do not know how to move forward, connecting with that spiritual aspect of yourself by either prayer and asking those allies that you have in the spirit world, could be your ancestors, your spirit guides, your guardian angels, asking for help at this time. But this card is just asking you, sit down with yourself, uh, think about what it is that you want for your life, understanding that there is a road forward, and then really using discernment for where you're at, what are your options, and then narrow things down more intuitively. All right. So this is the invitation for this card at the beginning of the week. Now, the middle of the week, and we have another major arcana card. So very important messages for you. So what is the tower bringing for the middle of the week for you? And it's saying, okay, so there is maybe it's because there is some confusion around certain areas of your life, but there is some changes that need to be made at this time. Something is not working how you expect, right? And the thing, whatever it is in your life that it's not going exactly how you expect, it's because there is a need for a change, right? For a change of how you have approached this situation, for a change on how you are responding to whatever is happening. There has to be a change. So, this card is coming with a question for you. Well, with several ones. But first is, what is not working the way you would want at this time? Second, look at the way you are responding to the situation, or look at how you have been handling and ask yourself, how can I do it differently, right? At this time, what needs to be structurally demolished because it needs to be built different here? Either the way you are approaching it, the way you are managing it, the way you are responding to it, or how you're communicating. But or a mix of everything. Whatever it is that you feel is not working right in your life, this card is an invitation for you to take responsibility of how what part you're playing, how you're responding, how you're managing it. And it's saying, look at it and say, hey, it's kind of this tower, the way whatever has been built needs to be demolished, it has to be changed, and I need to find a different approach. All right. And what is the message for the weekend? And the message of the weekend is the King of Wands. This king is a masculine energy, right? And Wands is that fire element. And this king is all about empowering yourself and taking charge of your life with authority, right? With saying, okay, I am the one in charge of where I'm going, how I'm handling things. So, recognizing this. So, it's a card of empowerment, and empowerment in a way that is, I don't want to say authoritatively, but very strong, right? Is be feeling very powerful, feeling that you are in charge, right? So is if you look at this card, try to imagine yourself as being this king, right? And you have all this kingdom to rule. So this kingdom that you need to rule is your life, and you are the king of it, right? And so this king is saying, how can you take more of a power or leadership role in your life, right? What is what is needed for you to take this leadership role in your life, and whatever things are not working, whatever things are causing confusion, whatever it is that I want, how can I take a power position, a leadership role, and say, I am calling the shots here, right? So you have a very interesting reading for this week. It starts at the beginning of the week by saying, "Hey, whatever it is that's causing confusion or whatever it is that you're going through, know that there is a path forward. You have spiritual helpers, and right now, what is needed is for light to be shedded in the way, right? So you accomplish this by discernment and intuition, a mix of both, right? And is taking practical steps of like sitting down with yourself, seeing what are your options, and doing a pros and cons, and also using that intuition to tell you this feels good or this does not feel good. This is the advice of this card. In the middle of the week, as we're moving towards the last quarter, that would be over here of the moon, it's just telling you something is not working the way you want to. It could be something big in your life or something small. It could be in your personal relationships or your professional life, but something is not working like it you would want it to. And this then the tower card is telling you, okay, here is your invitation for this. All right, it is to examine what are you bringing into this situation, right? How are you handling, how are you managing, how are you responding to it, how are you communicating here, and say, okay, whatever it is, it's not working, so I need a complete different approach, right? So I would say for this specific exercise in the middle of the week, journaling would be very good. And here at the beginning of the week, grounding, right? Meditation, grounding exercises, right? And here, for the end of the week. And here is when we're entering that last quarter of the moon. So, what is the King of Wands asking you to do or giving you advice? It is time to become this king, to be the leader of your life, to be empowered, to take control, right? To take control of the things of where your life is going, the things that you want. And all of this is saying, okay, how can I take control? Where is where am I giving my power away? Because this king is asking you to act like them, right? With the same authority, the same power, the same logic, all right? So, for these, I would recommend that if you do have tarot cards at home, to take the King of Wands, and meditate with it, right? Or put it right next to your nightstand, or take it with you, or even here, you could take a screenshot and remember this. Remember, okay, how can I be this king in my life? How can I take leadership and control of my life right now? All right, I hope you enjoyed your reading, and give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my videos. And remember that I offer private sessions and pre-recorded readings. Just go to my website or send me a message for more information so we can look at your specific situation. All right, now let's look at the blue fairy here. Let's see what, for those of you that have picked the blue fairy, let's see what messages this deck brings for you. All right, let's set the intention and ask the cards that we want guidance for our week, specifically the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week towards the weekend. Then a prayer of protection in love and light for our greatest good. All right. Oh, this one wanted to come out, so let's just put it here. And yeah, these ones are jumping with lots of messages. So 3 in the middle and 1 here. It just seemed like they wanted to talk and tell us something right away. Okay, let's look at the beginning of the week. And it comes from the Two of Pentacles, right? What is the advice right now? What is the invitation here? So the Two of Pentacles is about making choices, right? Choosing and making decisions, knowing that you have always part of your power is always in being able to make choices, right? And that your choices need to reflect, this is the earth element, the choices need to reflect what it is that you want to materialize, right? What you want to manifest. So when you make a choice, keeping the goal in mind. So if there is something right now that it is worrying you, that it's sitting in your heart, that is what you can't stop thinking about, uh, reflect on what are your choices. What what are your choices towards this thing? And then looking at it from your point of view of the goal. What is your goal? What is it that you want with this? And which one of your choices is more aligned with this goal? Right? Let's say, for example, that you are somebody who is, just to put a silly example, but trying to lose weight, right? And you are choosing a place to go with a friend or with your partner. Well, choosing a restaurant that has a menu that you can pick something that will be good for you if you're trying to lose weight, just to put an example. But this is how this card is asking you to approach your day, your beginning of the week, right? The first Monday and Tuesday is look at what choices you have, right? Because at every minute of the day, at every moment, we can make choices and say, what is my goal? What is my overall goal right now? And which one of these choices, if I make it, is going to bring me closer? All right. Now, let's look at the middle of the week. Let's put them in order as they came out. And it comes from the Seven of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, and the wise old man. That's perfect. All right. So that's what would be the Emperor in traditional tarot. It's card number 4. All right. So, what is the message here for the middle of the week? All right. So, the middle of the week is telling you, okay, um, it is time to put effort in the things that you want, right? It's not about being passive right now. It may feel like you at some things that you're about to give up, or that you feel exhausted about it. But this card is a card that says, you know what, keep going, keep pushing through towards the things that you want, because it's kind of saying you're almost there. And is saying, all right, look at if you give up now, or if you stop putting effort towards what you want, um, what would happen? Look at what would be lost, because this card is making us examine, based on the position and how it came out, at what would it be lost. So if you give up on something, if you stop putting effort in something, the question here is what would be lost. All right. So is it worth to be giving up? Is it worth to go forward with another choice or another way? What would be lost, right? What would I be giving up? And the wise old man, that's the emperor, brings you a different approach. Or the thing is, right now is about creating a stability towards the things that you want or your life, and you building that stability, right? And remembering your why. Why did you start this job? Why did you start this project? Why are you in this relationship? Remember your why and create some stability on it, right? And if you are about to give up, if you are about to change course, really think about what would be lost, right? So, a lot of reflection that the tarot is bringing you. All right, let's see the weekend, and that towards that last quarter of the moon, and it comes from the Eight of Wands. All right, so we have a week from all these cards. What it shows is a lot of that either you've been putting a lot of effort into something, and now you are about to give up. You're faced with, like, do I want to continue this or not, and making a choice. And the Eight of Wands is just saying, actually, everything you've done towards the things that you want or that you've been building in your life is about to create momentum, right? Is about to start moving forward in a faster pace that you've seen so far. So the Eight of Wands is not only asking about what are the next steps, it is telling you to that whatever it is that you've been wanting, to move forward with that, because there is a rapid energy around it that it's going to create a lot of momentum. Okay, so let's see what are the best steps or the exercises that this reading is telling us. So, at the beginning of the week, it's saying this is a time for you to look at what choices you have in front of you, and remembering that anytime you have to make a choice or a decision, it needs to be focusing on the goal that either you have for your life, or what it is that you want at this moment, right? Making choices with a target towards the goal. And at the middle of the week, it is saying, if you've been feeling about to give up on something, or that you're like thinking about changing courses in your life, this is saying, look how far you have come, examine the reason why you started either a project, a relationship, or why all the work that you've been putting in. So examine your why of why do you want something? Why have you worked so hard for it? All right, examine your why and what would be lost if you were to give up on a dream or on something you've been working on. And it's saying the best approach for it is to remember to create stability and to build a good foundation, right? To act like this wise old man around it. But really examine your why. Why is it that you put effort in something before you give up, before you make a different choice? What is your goal? What is your why, right? And here, the end of the week is saying, hey, there is a rapid energy that seems to be around. So whatever steps you take forward right now, the momentum is going to increase. So is saying go ahead, um, gain energy and take steps forward, right? The energy is pushing for that momentum. So the steps that you want to take towards a relationship, the steps that you want to take towards making a different choice for your life, or or if you continue with something that you've already started, um, gaining there is momentum in energy, and taking those steps forward is very important. All right, I hope you enjoyed your reading. If you did, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and reach out. I offer private sessions that can be done via video or phone, and there are different times that we can do 30 minutes, an hour, or a quick 15-minute check-in, or you can get a pre-recorded reading mailed directly into your email. All right, let's look at that yellow fairy, the last one for those of you who picked this one. Okay, let's see what the energy forecast and the guidance from the spirits of the tarot are bringing us. All right, let's set the intention and tell the cards what it is that we want at this time. So we would like messages for the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week with guidance of how to move forward at this time in our life. And we ask in love and light for our greatest good. All right. See the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week. All right. And the first message comes from the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Pentacles. All right, we have another Two of Pentacles here. So the Wheel of Fortune, right, is saying, all right, there are some changes in the air, or some changes that we need to make right now. Changes based on something that it's of benefit for us, right? The Wheel of Fortune is always changes in a positive way, right? So here is saying, what do you think needs to be changed right now? Right? What in your life is requiring you a change? And a change not because your approach has been bad, or not because something is not working well, right? It is, what positive changes can I make right now towards in my life, towards in my relationship, in my work? What are some positive changes that I could be making right now? Right? And the Two of Pentacles, in this case, in relationship to this card, and where we are at the beginning of the week, is saying, all right, yeah, so what changes can you make right now, positive changes, that will actually bring a different path forward, right? So it's positive changes that are going to maybe not only bring a new path forward, but are going to require that some things in your life are gonna fall off, right? And it's not in like some things that are you're going to miss or something sad like the end of a relationship or no. This is a positive change that's going to create a different path forward, and it's going to also involve that some things are going to be released and are going to be left behind, right? So by making a conscious choice of a positive change that you can make, that's going to create a path forward that you have not realized. And it's going to also help things that do not serve you well to be released and fall off your life. All right, now let's look at the middle of the week. And the middle of the week comes from, like, the message comes from the Six of Pentacles, right? And the Six of Pentacles is a card of balance, right? Of generosity, of give and take. And here for the middle of the week is saying, is asking you what things in your life are balanced and what things feel out of balance, right? And also examining your relationship with others. Are things feeling balanced at this time? Or what is not balanced? And here the invitation is also, what can you do to create more balance around the things that are important for you in your life and the relationships? What is the step you can take to create a more balanced approach, right? So, here the suggestion is, and the encouragement is, to create balance in your life towards everything that's important. So, really think in the middle of the week, think, what is important for me right now? How can I create more balance? And the relationships that are important for me right now, how can I make more of an effort so things do feel more balanced? And towards the end of the week, we have the Five of Pentacles. Again, that came out before. And you are getting a lot of Pentacles. So you got the two at the beginning of the week here, the six, and now you're getting the five. So Pentacles is the earth element. And what is telling us when so many pentacles come out in a reading is that your concern right now, or the important messages that we're getting, mostly the important messages, have to do with the physical aspect of your life, right? So things that are tangible, that are important. So it's not so much emotions, relationships, or ideas, but it is more the tangible aspects of your life. So the Five of Pentacles, if here you got the six, that it's asking you to examine where there is a balance in your life and to examine what's important and how to create more of a balance on the things that are important in your life. Here, the Five of Pentacles and the weekend says, all right, so the thinking that you have to have here, or what it's important to reflect on, is what's missing, right? What is missing right now in your life? What is something that you really wish could be different and that is missing? And it's interesting because if you look at the beginning of the week here, it says, start the week by thinking about what positive changes you can make to materialize something, and for whatever it is, to find a way forward, and other things that are not for you to fall off of your life. Remember to examine here what's important, and if you're being balanced on your approach of what's important. And here is saying, now look at what's missing, right? Because if you're making important changes that are, what changes do you need to do for to create or to move forward in a more positive way, and what's balanced, what's missing at this time, right? This is just telling you that if you feel that something's missing, what can you do about it? And look, that the wheel of fortune begins by telling you, right, you have the power to change things, right? Make these choices that will give you, not only will show you a new path towards what you want, but certain things that do not serve you are going to be falling off your life. Here in the middle of the week is saying, look at what's important and see that you are having a balanced approach with everything. And here, what is missing? What do you think is missing right now that it's either making you feel down, or that something that you would like to attain to make your life more balanced and more full, right? So it's a lot of reflection. It does not mean that something bad will happen and that you're going to lose something. Is really examine, it's making you examine what's important at this time and what's missing, and what changes can you do to make sure that the things that are important in your life you do not lose, and what's not important can fall off, but making time and putting attention to what's important and you need to have more of a balanced approach, and also what's missing and what can you do to fulfill that need of what's missing or what's not working, right? So my approach to tarot is always that you feel empowered, that you feel that you have choices. And this is guidance that comes with reflection. So you can think of what's in your power to do. What are those steps that you can make, right? There are many different features, and I try to say this in all my videos and in all the readings. So there is no specific prediction on something. We read the signs so you can make better choices and feel more empowered. So right now, there are some changes you need to make. There are some things that need to be fall off. By making these positive changes, you need to be more balanced and create more time to the things or the people that are important in your life. And you need to examine what is missing and what role do you have there. What can you do to fulfill a need of something that's that you haven't attained, and that it's you feel that it's missing in your life right now. So I hope you liked your reading. Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Remember, these are collective readings, so take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you want us to look at your particular situation, reach out for more information, and also to book your private reading with me or a pre-recorded reading sent directly to you. And like and subscribe. This helps my little channel grow. And also share the messages if you feel that somebody needs to hear a message that was said in this video. Share the video. All right, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you Monday tomorrow with our look at work and career. Brightest blessings.